بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم. Welcome to the series of videos that have been designed and recorded to help you better be a part of an efficient part of the New Muslim Care team and walk you through several tools and resources and experiences that we have had along our journey to help in the spiritual and general growth of a new Muslim or a new practicing Muslim. You have my contact information here on the screen just in case if you have any questions, if you're not part of the team and you're viewing these presentations as part of implementing some of the things that we have found useful in your own team, you can contact me at this email address. Okay, so let's begin. First thing I would like to remind you that this is not something that you should be watching while you're multitasking on something else, right? So focus is very important. Make sure that you have dedicated 20-25 minutes of time and have avoided distraction and are paying attention to these videos. The reason we are doing it in this format is it's usually we don't want to burden people by committing a certain time. Different times work for different people. Everybody is so busy, and we totally understand and appreciate that we have a lot of commitments in our life and different things going on around us. So it's easier to give people the freedom to schedule their own time and be able to view and understand the material and then hopefully decide which parts will be the ones that they will be applying in their own life and practice. So as we want to give people the freedom, we also expect that we would be diligent and respectful and take the time out and focus on the material that's being presented and take notes or have questions. So write down your questions so that we can chat about those things. We might hold either during interview or a separate webinar or a live meeting session in which people can ask their questions. It took a lot of time to experiment with different things that were out there, then customizing it and then deploying it. So that's what we're presenting in these 20 minutes or so of brief presentation for you. Okay, so the way that you would get started is you would get an email invitation from HubSpot. Okay, that's HUBSPOT, HubSpot. You should be getting an email invitation when your account is created on the HubSpot. And once you have that, here is what it would look like. You would go in to HubSpot.com. You would log in with your email address, and then you'll be able to have this view. Okay, some of these terminologies might look weird to you and strange as to why we are using these terminologies for our own purpose. The reason is that we're using a HubSpot free version. It does not let us customize a lot of things. It's primarily designed for sales teams and how they operate. So some of the terminologies are related to sales. And we're just trying to use those to model our needs. Okay, so the first thing that you should do when you log in is you should click on companies. Okay, now companies, again, in the sales field, they would use it to track different companies that they are dealing with. But the reason we are using companies is we will use it to model different functions or different types of activities that we do in our own team. As you can see on the screen, we have something around training and courses, weekly status, events, management-related tasks, outreach and collaboration tasks. So you can, once you have that account, you should be able to go and see some of these tasks. I won't go into a lot of details about everything in this video because we want to keep it short and to the point. So for now, the first thing that you should do as a new user, as a new member, you should click on team training and courses. Okay, so what I would do is I would I've created a task or a pinned item, right, that you can expand here. Okay, so this is the required and recommended training for every new member, and some of this is obvious, and some of this I will shed light on why it's important to do. And obviously, how to use HubSpot is very important. You should view that training. Okay, once you have done that, then I would like you to be familiar with New Muslim Care, the roles, the different roles that we have, and then this is very important. Protecting yourself. Um, you are in a very interesting space, right? Most of the people that you would be dealing with would have some sort of issues, right? In general, and in most cases, they would not be at a spiritual level that you are at. Their commitment level would not be the same as yours. And in most cases, it would be below or way below your own commitment level, right? Likewise, their emotional health may be below yours. Maybe. That's not always the case, but maybe, and perhaps in most of the cases, and so on and so forth. So that means that, those of you who have traveled in a plane would know that, when they show you this safety precaution videos, they show you that, hey, in case of oxygen reduction in the cabin, protect yourself first, wear your mask first before you start helping other people, right? So this is very important for you to be aware of this thing, because at the end of the day, we are here to help develop and facilitate for more people in this world to be practicing the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whereby the communities, the societies would get better and better, and we would be making this whole world a better place, inshallah, by helping people understand and implement the deen, the way of life that Allah, the creator of the heavens and the earth, has advised and ordered and guided the humankind to follow. So while doing that, it wouldn't make sense for us to, be losing our own volunteers along the journey, right? So it's very important for you to have your own spiritual journey and your own spiritual commitments in which you're taking care of your prayers, your obligatory actions, as well as your voluntary actions. You're taking care of your family, you're taking care of your basic obligations, and you're also increasing your knowledge. And very importantly, you spend time with people who are better than you, right? People who you look up to in their own worship and in their own piety and in their own commitment to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, the knowledge is with Allah. We don't judge anybody, but you have to be aware that this is a challenge as well. Because if you're spending a lot of time with non-Muslims or newly converted Muslims, and their level of practice is way below yours, you don't really want to, start lowering your own personal standards. Okay, so this is a video that would talk a bit about that, the importance about that, and how to, some of the points that you should use to protect yourself. Okay, so this is about, the different buddy training videos that we will be creating. This is specifically for those people who want to be the active buddies, who are active buddies. This will be explained when you're watching this video on New Muslim Care team and roles. Okay, then we go into some of the other Dawah related stuff, right? Because now when you're presenting Islam to people around you, you have to be able to understand where they're coming from, different ways of presenting Islam. So we have, recommended some of the Dawah training related material here, and a very small brief presentation here and here. Okay, now there's a very good series by a revert brother himself who, mashallah, went and got formal Islamic studies, I believe, up to a level of bachelor's or perhaps master's in Islamic studies, Sheikh Abdullah, and he has a program and he has training available. So, in my trainings, I wouldn't like to be redundant, and I would cover some of the stuff that I've seen from my own experience, but I would highly, highly recommend and require from the coaches to be working on the modules that he has developed. And it's free. And I would highly recommend you to do that. If there's any issues and you can't enroll or there's any obstacles, please let me know and I'll help you out with that. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Okay, so once you are on this thing, what I want you to do now is, let's say you will be picking this thing first, right? How to use HubSpot, which is what you're already doing. Then what you would do is you would go and create a task. Now you're creating a task and watched HubSpot training video. Now I'll just put my name there. Okay, this is task that's assigned to yourself. It's a to-do. You don't have to do this email reminder. So no reminder. Okay, it's under this thing, and you're gonna do a save task. Okay, likewise, whenever you do anything from here, you're gonna create yourself a task, right? Either before completion or after completion, right? So this is, as I'm completing this task, I just created it, and this is now here. What I'm going to do is I will actually mark it complete. Okay, so I will show you how to mark it complete anyway. So I've just created a task, right? Likewise, you will create a task to watch this, watch this, watch this, watch this. Now, this is just the basics, right? I hope that you would continue your own Islamic studies either locally or using some of the online resources that we have. I would actually add some of the stuff that so I can't edit it because anyway. So what I will do is when you go there, you would probably see other recommended online courses here. And if you don't have anything that you are currently pursuing, you can consider looking at some of those programs. And as you complete those trainings, as you complete those seminars, I would highly encourage you to update it here. This would encourage other team members to update their own training and their own education, as well as let us know who is at what stage, so that as we grow in our team, we know how people are taking care of their own personal educational development. Okay, let me just quickly show you something. So what you would do is you would go under tasks, right? You can change it to a table view or a board view, whatever, right? So this is a task that's assigned to me. I will go here, I'll click here, and I'll mark it completed. Okay, likewise, what you can do is you can create new tasks for yourself, right? So you can create a task, follow up with such and such person, or study, or watch. Okay, so whatever the task is, or meet, right? You might be meeting somebody to inform them about the program or the way that the team works, or recruiting a volunteer, or recruiting or giving dawah to a non-Muslim, whatever. You can mark this in, and then you can actually click on add and edit, right? And you would use an appropriate company. That's very important, please, right? So, okay, so it doesn't let you search companies. So I think the best way to create a task is to actually go under that particular company, which for us is a team, right? So let's say if you go into outreach and collaboration, right? And you can say, okay, I want to meet Salahuddin New Muslim team, or I want to do this, or whatever. You have different tasks that are going on. You can actually create yourself a new task, and that will be under that department. And then as you finish it, you can go under task, and then you can mark them completed. Right? So now it's not showing me anything because they're all completed, right? So again, so this way, we would know what you're working on, and we would be able to see what contribution you made every week. Okay. Another thing that I would like you to do every week is, inshallah, if you go on companies, right, and you can go under, let's say, brothers weekly status update, or sister. So everybody is seeing their own or unassigned updates, right? So not every member of the team would see yours, right? So there is some sort of privacy there. And what you can do is you can create a task, or you can log an activity. I think what's best is probably just create a new note. Okay, and in here, what we would do is, I think, um, like a weekly update, and you can put in like what you did this week, right? Spoke and followed up with blah, and next week I plan to do this. So it will be a short update of what the team has been up to, right? So here's what we'll do. So there, right? So I can add mine. Fatah gonna come in and we can add his. Samir can add his. Right? So then I can add hers, right? So on and so forth. Um, so I think everybody should be able to edit that note. You can then come in and then edit it. If not, then everybody would create their own personal notes. Okay. Anyways, the point is that this is a company. This is what we're using company to actually update the weekly status updates. Okay. So far what we have talked about is how to get started, about training, and so this is what we have talked about: training and how to create your task, how to make the task completed, and how to update about your weekly progress. And now we will go into the interesting thing, like how do we track reverse and the reverse progresses and action items about them. Okay, so the way it would work is that either you would be given a contact that's assigned to you for a follow-up call, okay, and we would talk about in a different training like some of the suggestions on how do you start that relationship and so on and so forth, right? Or it could be that you have found a person in your own area circle of influence, right? It could be a neighbor, a colleague, a student, a class fellow, right? Somebody that you deal with, you have found them and you're working on them, and you're inviting them to Slum. Then you would basically go ahead and create a contact. If you have a big database for management and what have you, you can actually import as well. So that could be learned separately. We don't want to make it a part of the main video. So you would go into contacts, and as you see, you can do add contact manually, or you can import, right? You can also, okay, so let me just make a sample contact just so that I can walk you through it. Okay, so you click on show me a sample contact, it's going to create one for you. Okay, that's a lot of preparation. Lot of preparation. If something is not clear, you can pause this video at this point and then go back and clarify it. If you have any questions, please write them down and we can inshallah follow up on those. All right, let's do it. What's going on? Show me example contact. Okay, fine. All right, we're just gonna go and create our own contact. All right, so obviously we'll start with name, email. Okay. So this is the email of the contact that you are creating. Okay. So we call it reword1@gmail.com. Okay. Who is the owner? Right. So this is who is assigned. So if this is not assigned to anybody, if you're just requesting somebody to follow up, you can use that. And if it is assigned, you can basically click on somebody and then assign it to them, or you can just assign it to yourself. If you know this, so again, there's a lot of fields. You can put in whatever you're comfortable in, and if you don't know something, you don't have to put it in. As you learn about those things and you think they're beneficial to be shared, you can keep adding them in here. Again, for contacts, what would happen is you can view your contacts and management can view the contacts, and other people in the team would not view the details about that contact. So there is this privacy notion there. And Okay, so you keep adding whatever you want to add. So these are fields that we have created, right? So education, pre-high school, high school, college, postgraduate. So it would help, other buddies, as well as it would help us to run some statistics and understand what's happening, right? So as we plan, as we try to see, okay, what is it that we need for new Muslims? Uh, and again, when we say new Muslim, it's somebody who has taken Shahada. It can also be somebody who has not been practicing Islam and now they want to practice Islam, right? A new person coming to your masjid, to your courses, to your school, and you kind of encourage them to live their life by Allah, and that would make them happy, and that would make the world a better place. Those would apply in this scenario as well. So this type of information would help us run some statistics, do some planning for next year and the years to come. Hey, that this is what we need for this. These are some of the things that are working, and these are some of the things that are not working. These are some of the services that we can provide. Okay, so this would be a date, right? When did we start working with them? What have you? Sometimes people have a preferred name. You can put that in if they do. Okay, so again, for statistical purposes, as well as this information would help you in developing a better relationship, right? So if you have any, if it meets, sometimes there's multiple reasons. So whatever the reasons are, just check them in. Sometimes you may not know about this in the first meeting. As you learn about it, you can go ahead and update these information. Not a big deal. If you do that, do it with the intention of, inshallah, creating knowledge to help other people and to spread the deen of Allah and to help the da'wah. Okay, and where are they in their spiritual practice currently? Okay, now this is not something that you would be asking them in the first interview. As you interact with them, as you feel more comfortable, these things would keep getting up to date, right? And you owning that contact, you would keep information about that. This would help again with statistical purposes, and would also help you kind of visualize where things are. And as you look at your month and year and your quarters, you would be able to see, okay, this is alhamdulillah what I was able to achieve, and this is how things have been moving forward. Okay, so these are some of the categories that we have seen people having. So we have made a note of them, and then if you have other fields or categories or status that you would like us to add, just let us know. Okay, so this would be somebody like you are working on a non-Muslim contact. You would put that in, right? Sometimes people basically stop communications, and you can collect that in as well, right? That does not mean that we are gonna just get rid of that contact, because sometimes, as we would talk in the buddy training, sometimes there is this notion of people coming back and forth as well. So anyway, so you uh, and this is a sad reality as well, right? Again, back and forth happens. So you up to date it as much as you can. Okay. This is something that I usually ask people. How frequently would you like us to be in touch? Are we meeting every week, every other week, every day? Are we syncing up? Whatever. So whatever you agree on, it's there so that you can ask that question, and then it may also change over time. We will talk about this in the buddy training. Right now, we're just talking about the system itself, how to use the tool. Okay. So what have they learned so far? Just something for you to have a focus on, right? Again, it's not like a set program, but do they know how to make wudu? Do they know the condition of wudu, ghusl, how to pray, Fatiha, basic things, and so on and so forth. This is usually going to be the same as the HubSpot owner, but just in case, sometimes there are multiple people working on it, you can do that. Okay, now this is an important field, right? So here are some status that every contact would have one of these status, right? It could be not interested to continue, or the person has stopped communicating. That would be one area, okay? Or this is basically, the engagement team or coming in, right? And then adding a contact, they would mark something as, this person has expressed interest, right? And now it's waiting to be established first contact with. It could also be that somebody walks into your masjid and the masjid hands you, hey, you know what? There's a new Muslim. Can you help them? Here's a contact. Or a friend telling I know somebody at my work who has converted. Here's a contact. Can you see how you guys can help them? Okay. Now the person who's trying to establish a contact usually will be the same person who would be the coach, and we will talk all about this in the training. Right now, I'm just talking about the tool once again. Okay. first contact attempted, second, third, person has not responded, or the first meeting or the call has taken place. I'm not regularly meeting with that person, and then this is like finally, this person is well integrated in the society and the community, and obviously you keep in touch with them, but they're really out of the scope of the new Muslim care because they're just like a basic person who knows what they need to do and are kind of like are doing what's needed of them. Okay, so this is how you can actually go ahead and create a contact, and then you will basically be working on them, right? So let me just create that contact. Okay, so now if I go on contacts, right, you have this thing. Now here's one quick thing I'll show you, actions. You can actually edit the columns. So what is showing you right now, you can actually go ahead and edit the fields that you want to see. So that would be displayed in your thing, in your portal, right? So if you don't, you can say current state as whatever. So now if you update it, then this is what you would see on your dashboard. So it's something really, whatever you want to see, you can change it, right? You can then also filter, right? So let's say the management can come in and filter that, so now there are many fields. Some of these again are, sales field. So you can skip that, right? And as you go down, you would see our own fields. So you can filter on those. For example, if you want to filter on lead status, right? So I might come in and say, you know what, I want to see everybody uh, who is basically one of these guys who's saying not interested in continue. Let me see these guys. Or who has expressed interest, right? But we have not contacted them, right? So the managers can come and see these type of contacts, and then maybe reach out to them or assign them to some people, what have you. So this is for filtering, right? This would especially be useful for management, or as your contacts grow. If you have a lot of contacts, you might filter things down and then focus on different types of people, right? So again, now I can go back to contact and I can say, you know what? Okay, let's go back. Let me see everything. No filters. Okay, so now you're seeing everything. Okay. Okay, so now as you work with them, you can click here and you can create a task related to that person, right? Follow up, or it could be like a meet, right? And then again, so let's say follow up for first meeting. Save task. Now you can go in task. It will be there for you, right? You can click. You can do. I want to see open tasks. Okay, so you see that, and then you can complete it, or you can go there, add your notes, whatever the notes is. So that's way it's kind of like these things. I know it might be a bit like why am I doing all that sort of stuff? It might be a bit new, but the benefit is, look, everybody would be aware of what's happening, right? It would also help you develop some good habits, right? Even in your personal life, right? It will help you be more focused, have a plan, have accountability, and make sure that you're continuously progressing. You can use similar systems for your own personal life as well, for your own goals as well. Obviously, you don't have to use HubSpot, but other tools in which you have a plan and then you execute and so on and so forth. So I hope it's clear, and yeah, this is it. If you have any questions, just let me know. And so basically, get your account and get on the trainings. Start creating your tasks and marking them as completed. And then what you would do is you would import the rewards that you are coaching, that you are mentoring, and or if you're working on any other tasks of the new Muslim care or your team, you would import those tasks or create those tasks and mark them as completed and so on and so forth. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for spending this time in thinking and contemplating about efficient ways to help people practice the deen of Allah, to learn about Allah, the names and attributes of Allah, the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this world, and the way that would lead to eternal happiness as well as happiness and peace in this world. That's a great mission, and it is not easy, right? There is not much glamour to it. You know, not everybody that you would talk would start praying tahajjud tomorrow, right? People would take their time. There would be a lot of disappointments, but it's a great cause. And every minute that you spend in this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are rewarded for it based on your sincerity, based on your intentions, regardless of what the results are. Regardless of what the results are. But at the same time, we have to be efficient, we have to be productive, and we have to use our time wisely. That's why we use all these tools. And remember that even if you spend an hour, half an hour talking to somebody and they don't take a lot of actions, it is fine because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you on effort and not necessarily on sales, right? So in the worldly sense, if you go and you sell a car, somebody would give you a commission. But if you don't sell a car and you're just like talking to people, you're making a lot of effort, you know, you might get fired and whatnot, right? But this is not how things work with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So remember that and seek your reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and take the task that you do for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala seriously as well, right? You're not being paid for it, but take it seriously because you are doing it for the sake of Allah. So it does deserve your attention and your focus. And if you're saying I will commit an hour, then that hour should be there. You know, that 2 hours should be there. Whatever you're committing to, and you're doing it for the sake of Allah, then you don't have a human boss, right? Yes, we have a structure and teams and this and that, but at the end of the day, the goal is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah be happy with us and make us sincere. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.